Hi
Hi
everyone.
there.
I'd like to welcome a special guest to my show. Who do we have here today? We have Suzanne Munson, and I hope I don't mispronounce her name. If I do, she'll let me know. But let me give you her bio. My guest, Suzanne, is the author of 6 books, 4 published and 2 on the way. She writes in a variety of genres: traditional history, metaphysical history, poetry, and fiction. Again, that's metaphysical history, poetry, and fiction. Today, we will talk about one of her latest books titled Of Loss and Love, A Journey of the Heart. I have read this book, and Suzanne Harman Munson's poetry memoir book of Loss and Love, A Journey of the Heart, offers a deeply personal account of her journey towards healing after losing her husband, providing comfort and solace to those who have experienced loss through heartfelt poetry, making it a highly recommended read or gift for those seeking solace. And to me, and I think to all others, a definite 5-star read.
Thank you.
So, welcome, Suzanne. Welcome to my show.
Thank you.
Before I continue with questions, would you like to add anything?
Well, my name is pronounced Munson. And if anyone wants to look my books up on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, just look up my name, Suzanne Munson. And I have 4 published books up there now.
Excellent. What are the names of those 4 published books, if I may ask?
Well, the first one is a big fat history book with lots of footnotes and bibliography, and that took me 5 years to write. And that's called Jefferson's Godfather. And that is a biography of his great teacher, George Wythe, who really inspired some of Jefferson's greatest achievements, but has been lost to time, unfortunately. So I'm trying to bring him back to life. And so the second one, which I think you and I will discuss at another time, is called The Metaphysical Thomas Jefferson, different genre. And then the third published book is the one we'll discuss today, the Book of Reflections of Loss and Love. And then one was issued just this past summer, and that also has to do with Thomas Jefferson and George Wythe, and that's called First in Law, First in Leadership, and that's about the first law school in America, which also trained some of our best leaders.
It's fascinating work, and you put so much research and time into all your books. Amazing. I've only read 2 so far, but I'm sure I'll get to read more, and fascinating reads. I must recommend to all of the audience. All right, on with the questioning. We'll start with the first question. Suzanne, you had a catalyst for writing this book, the death of your husband, Ned, in 2013. Sorry about that. That was the beginning of what you call a journey of the heart. You started writing poems soon after he died, but you call them reflections instead. What was this process like?
Well, I was an English major. And I've written in my various careers, jobs. They've all required writing, speeches, brochures, advertising, and website content, and so on. But I never really felt the need or the desire to write poetry. And I don't call my reflections in this book poetry because people shy away from reading a book of poems because they think they're obscure or they're not going to relate to them. So I call them my reflections after my husband died, and I started getting these ideas that I thought were important and that should be written down. And so I would get a yellow notepad, and I would be different subject matter each time, and I would write a reflection. You can call it in verse, But the book itself is more like a journal of my 3 years after my husband died. And so I kind of explain each reflection as it comes up, what I was thinking and what I was doing. But the first ones were about grief, processing how I was processing my grief. And then we move into mindfulness, and I started looking for ways to enjoy life, and particularly the five senses that we have but don't enjoy nearly enough. And then it ends on a happy note. I did find a new partner, so it has a happy ending. And there's a little poem about that.
Marvelous, marvelous. So, if I may ask, how are you doing today? You look fabulous.
Well, I'm coming out of the Christmas croup, which I think most people have had. But I feel great today. Thank you. And thank you for letting me postpone our talk till I felt better.
Of course, of course. And the weather here has been awful. It's freezing. It's maybe 16 degrees, but that's okay. I'm inside, I'm warm, and I'm talking to you, so life couldn't be better. All right, let's get on to another question for you. You moved from grief to trying to live mindfully and with purpose, I might add. You wrote reflections about each of the five senses: sight, taste, touch, scent, and sound. Why did you focus on these in your journey?
Well, I've learned that so many of us just go through life focusing on the little irritations and the little things that we're doing, or maybe our big troubles. And we don't take time to coin a phrase to stop and smell the roses. And I do like roses, and we like flowers in the house. And whenever I stop to smell a rose, I think of my mother, because she overcame a great tragedy by trying to live more mindfully and connecting with nature, which is very, very important to us. Even when we live in the city, I think it's so important to find a park or some place to go, trees, to connect with nature. I felt that it was really, really important for us to enjoy the small things in life. And so I wrote at least one poem about each of the five senses and how we should enjoy those senses more. And how we should be grateful. Gratitude is just the basic ingredient in being happy. We cannot be happy if we're always griping and complaining about things and looking at the glass half full and looking for things to be negative about. And I'm protecting myself from negativity right now. There's a lot in the world, and I'm protecting myself from it. And one of the things we can do is to enjoy our five senses. And I even wrote one about taking a shower because I think we need to be mindful that there are people in war zones who haven't showered in maybe a year or 6 months. They don't have toilet paper. They don't have running water. We have all of those basic little things that we take for granted. So when I shower, I'm really grateful for my shower, and I try to enjoy it, all the little droplets everywhere. And I've written about enjoying certain foods instead of just gobbling them down, eating slowly and mindfully and closing your eyes. And when I give talks, I do give talks from my books. I pass out the most delicious chocolate mints, and I ask people to bite into them. And of course, most of them will bite half of it off and get it over with real fast. But I ask them to take the piece of chocolate in just little bitty bites, close their eyes, and just enjoy the deliciousness. Just little things like that. And the gift of sight, stopping to enjoy a sunset. That sunset's not going to be here in 10 more minutes. Might as well stop and enjoy it. It'll never come back in its present form. I wrote a poem about that.
Wow, this is good stuff.
So, yeah.
Wow, you got me mesmerized. I was just tuning into you and listening, and sort of like meditation. I was meditating for that moment. I recently started meditation, which is very relaxing. I myself walk every day and take time out to enjoy this finer things,
Mhm.
little things in life. So it's important. Very good.
Yes.
Yes, well said. Well said. Um, your journey of the heart begins with processing grief with the loss of your husband of many years. The book has a happy ending, though. You found a wonderful new partner, as you said, and you found him online. Wow. Describe how that happened. And did you have any advice from others who are looking for love online?
Well, that's a very interesting story. And people love to hear our story. We just regale a lot of people with our story.
Mhm.
So what happened was 3 years and 3 months after my husband died, I confided to two friends within the space of a week or two that I wasn't lonely in the usual sense of the word. You know, I went out, I did things, I made new friends, I did good volunteer work, um, saw plays, you know, did all those things. But my heart was lonely, and I had once been whole, and I felt half, and I wanted to be whole again. So, so these two women, one of them said she always told me to do stuff she'd never do. So she told me to go online,
Oh.
and she's always given me good advice. And so both of these women told me about this site. It's on Match.com. It's called Our Time, and it's for people in more or less in my age group. So, so I was sitting on a bench when I was talking to my friends, and I always carry a little notebook around with me. And so I wrote down the site, and then I transferred that note to my list of computer notes, things to do on my computer. I'm a big note taker. I live by my list. It really cuts down on stress. So eventually I got on the site and wrote a very detailed profile about myself, who I was, who I wasn't, what I was looking for, what I wasn't looking for. And and I put my very best picture up, of course. And so I was online 11 days. And I learned a lot in those 11 days. I saw some phonies and losers. And, well, I shouldn't say that, but, you know, just people who would not interest me. And
Not a minute.
it was really educational. So on the other side of the country, I live in Virginia, and on the other side of the country in Texas, my current husband was living. He's not a native of Texas, but he was happened to be living there at the time. He had lost his wife to cancer, um, and he had not been available to me until practically the weekend that we connected because he was caring for his wife. And then a period of time had to lapse. So he spends a lot of time on his computer. He's a businessman. And so an ad mysteriously popped up for a free trial for this site. And he said, well, what the heck, you know, I'll give it a try. And so he put his profile up in his picture, excuse me. And immediately all the ladies in Houston were all over him. And so, um, but 2 days later, mysteriously, my picture and profile popped up. Excuse me, I need a little water.
Sure, take your time. Take your time.
So he was flipping through the different pictures that were being presented. And he saw my picture and read my profile. And he wrote me the nicest note. And he said he thought there were a lot of similarities in our profiles, and that he would like to get to know me better, and would I have time to talk to him.
Oh.
So this was late one Friday afternoon, and I was babysitting my grandchildren. And so I said, well, I'm babysitting right now, and maybe we can talk. We can email tonight. Give me your email address. And I said, in the meantime, tell me a little something about yourself. What books you're reading, your politics, and your career path. Let's just cut to the chase. Let's don't waste any time.
Good, good.
Uh, well, a lot of men would have been put off by that because some people online are only interested in a one night stand or something like that. But he was interested. So he wrote me this long epistle about all those things. And I found that his books, the books he was reading were more or less business related, but they were very good books. I approved of them. And,
Wonderful.
and told me about his politics and moderate, fiscal conservative, social moderate. And I thought that was fine. And then his career path, which was very impressive. So I thought, well, this looks like somebody I might want to get to know.
Oh.
So because of the distance between us, we were forced to get to know each other in writing, in emails. And he called that our courtship by letters. And he said he was standing on the internet highway waiting for a ride my way.
Oh, that's so nice. I love that. Wow.
And so we must have sent, I don't know, several hundred emails before we even met. And we emailed each other before we even talked for 2 weeks. I was afraid, we were afraid we were going to break the spell by talking because we were doing so well in writing.
Oh my God.
And I was afraid he'd have some horrible accent.
Oh,
But he didn't. He speaks well. And also, he found out that I was an English major and have taught English. So he had to up his game and do spell check and, proofread and everything.
oh boy.
And so we did a forensic audit on each other. I was with my friend who had told me to go online, even though she wouldn't. And she's a lawyer. And so she found his house and found his business and, anything we could find out about him. He did the same thing for me, found my high school yearbook, other things about me, that I'd been an English teacher. So anyway, we did all that audit. But what I want to tell people is if you are going online to find somebody, you may or may not find the person of your dreams. I happen to think that we were intended to spend this part of our lives together. Not any earlier, but this part. And but I really, really advise people to get to know somebody in writing first, by emails, and then by telephone, because I never wanted to hurt anybody's feelings. And I never wanted to be in an awkward situation where I'd be having lunch or dinner with some old gentleman and, he'd be interested and I wouldn't be. And it would just be awkward. And, how do you let somebody go, And so I had not gone out with anybody during those 3 years and 3 months after my husband died. In fact, I didn't even think I'd ever get married again. I said, no, I'm off the market. But I did eventually feel that I needed to have another person in my life. But don't meet too soon in a relationship. Everybody is so excited when they first meet somebody who's interesting. But just wait, vet that person in writing and find out if there are red flags. Look for those red flags. Dysfunctional families and lots of mistakes and unhappiness and whatnot. Watch those red flags. Fortunately, I didn't see any red flags with Jim, and he's a wonderful man. And but the only way that we could have met was online because of the distance between us, and we had nothing at the time in common that would ever bring us together. So that's my little piece of advice. You're either meant to have someone or you're not. I'm kind of a fatalist about that. And if you're not, just fill your life with family and friends and love, and find love uh, everywhere you can, even if you're not with a partner.
Now, are you guys happily married now? You guys got married?
Yes, we got married. I had to wait a year after I told my family. It took me a while to tell my family,
Mm.
a decent period of waiting because they naturally were very suspicious about me meeting this stranger from Texas online. And so he had to run the gauntlet here with my friends and my family. They put him through his paces. They were very protective of me. Uh, and I got a couple of lectures, as a matter of fact. Don't be doing this too fast. You know, you don't have to get married. You know, other people have a relationship without being married. But he had traveled all over the world and lived all over the world, so it was no problem for him to move to Virginia.
Oh, wow.
I was not leaving Virginia because I have very deep roots here. He had traveled all over the world and really didn't have any roots anywhere, and he wanted to put some down, so he has. He's very, very happy here.
That's good. That's very good. Now, wow. Excellent. You could be like a Dare Suzanne. Fascinating story. Can you show us your book, perhaps? I don't think we've seen your book. And maybe read a little excerpt if you have a minute.
Yes. So it has a bright cover. My husband, Jim, designed this for me.
Wow.
That's kind of me. The original silhouette was much thinner. I said, no, you've got to add a little weight to that. And so that's the cover of Lost in Love.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Um, this is a poem that makes me tear up. So you'll have to pardon me if I tear up.
Sorry.
But this is one of my sad poems after my husband died. Um, so he had an old green van that we used for carpool. And I had the better car that I took to my job. Anyway, it was time to, after he died, it was time to turn the van in and let go of it. So this is called the used car lot. I never thought of CarMax as a place for tears, but oddly, it is. It's where we say goodbye to memories of rides to the beach, to work, to school, of birthdays, cotillions, and trips to the pool. The van was part of his identity, stable, modest, and sturdy. This piece of metal was a piece of our lives. The sales lady found a tissue and waited for me to stop. She said that tears are often shed on this used car lot. I signed the bill of sale today. I watched as they drove the van away. I wonder, was it sad too?
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of my friends really relate to that, selling their husband's car.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Or their mother's car, or their father's car.
Okay, well,
Now, I did write a little ditty about finding love online. You want to hear that one?
sure, if it's short, because unfortunately we have to close the show shortly, but yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
This is called Love Online.
Okay.
The web threads the vibes of our lives. Conversation, commerce, movies, and news. Voices of 1,000 views. Videos, cameras, goods to retail, puppies for sale. Whatever we desire can be found on the wire. We can even find love. Bands of love fly the sky like morning larks when we begin to open our hearts.
Beautiful, beautiful. I thank you so much for coming on my show. It was an absolute pleasure. And where can we buy your book?
You can buy it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It's Of Loss and Love, A Journey of the Heart. And my name is Suzanne Munson, Munson. You can just look up my name on Amazon and my 4 books will come up.
Do you have a website if someone wants to contact?
Yes, it's Suzanne Munson -author.com.
Okay, here you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Mhm.
Thank you for coming on our show. And I think soon again, we might do another interview with Suzanne on another one of her books. Thank you, everyone, for participating. This is Book Some More 1818. We're all over. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe. It's free to subscribe and watch and comment. I like comments. Please comment. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Suzanne. What a pleasure it was talking to you. My God.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on my show. I really appreciate it. I love talking to authors, producers. I just love talking. I love interviewing. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye now, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.